Hey, AP gang. So it looks like we've got a virtual day. So I'm just gonna upload a really quick video of myself giving you some instructions, and then I will send you an email with all of the details. But basically, in lieu of not being in class, I'm going to do a real quick summary of Washington's presidency. I'm gonna look at my notes. I sent you the PowerPoint so you can follow along with me. Oh, let's see here. So we talked about the fact that Washington had a rock star cabinet. However, his Secretary of Treasury and Secretary of State did not get along. Hamilton had a vision of America's future as manufacturing, industrial, pretty all-encompassing transportation system, banking, etc. And Jefferson perceived that America would be rural or agrarian, and so that sets them up at odds. Ultimately, however, Thomas Jefferson does support Alexander Hamilton's debt plan. The United States government was going to assume the debts of all of the states in order to earn some credit so that they could borrow money from foreign countries so that they could build their industrial megaplex that was in Hamilton's mind. During Washington's presidency, the two-party system did arise. Washington is technically considered federalist because he supported a stronger central government. He tended to favor Hamilton over Jefferson. Hamilton becomes the leader, figurehead of the Federalist Party, and Jefferson becomes the figurehead of the Democratic Republicans. One of the first events that took place, well, it happened during, it may have actually been, I can't remember if it was his first term or second term, but the Whiskey Rebellion. My dogs are taking a nap over there. The Whiskey Rebellion was an attempt by farmers in Western Pennsylvania to resist an excise tax that Congress had passed. And so Washington raised up an army, and actually the army had already been put into play from some Indian war conflicts that were happening. But nonetheless, he takes an army and he heads to Western Pennsylvania, where the Pennsylvania farmers decide to pay the whiskey tax. Thereby introducing the idea that the executive branch enforces the laws of the legislative branch. Let's see here. And then today's lesson, what I would have been talking about in class was some of the conflict in the Ohio River Valley. Settlers were moving into the Ohio River Valley. The Indian tribes of that area that the British had worked with were left out of the treaty. England essentially treated or ceded all of that land to the United States without taking into consideration the various Indian tribes that lived there, and they decided to resist. And so they formed the Northwest Confederacy. Little Turtle was the primary leader of that, and they resisted settler encroachment on their lands. Washington had to raise up an army to send to protect the settlers, which he did. And there was just a horrible defeat called St. Clair's defeat, and it remains the largest percentage of an American force killed or wounded in battle. And so the videos that I'm going to send you have to do with that. It's called St. Clair's defeat. General St. Clair was the general that was in charge. He was a friend of Washington's from the American Revolution, probably shouldn't have been selected. And then in response to that, Washington raises up, institutes essentially the first four corps of the United States Army, and he sends a huge army off to fight the Northwest Confederacy Indians. And under the reign of General Anthony Wayne was his name, and they eventually do defeat the Confederacy. The Confederacy Little Turtles tribes have to concede, and it sets into motion the means by which the U.S. will be confiscating Indian land. So those are, the Indian conflicts are another one of the domestic issues that Washington had to deal with during his presidency. Then I'm going to shift gears and talk about a couple of important foreign policy issues. One of them was the fact that England and France were fighting again, and Washington issued a policy of neutrality. He wasn't going to get involved. That doesn't prevent individual French citizens from trying to recruit Americans, and you'll see that. A gentleman by the name of Edmund Genet was recruiting Americans and buying ships, and Washington said to stand down, and he wouldn't. So you'll see that as well. And then the other foreign policy issue was Jay's Treaty, which was a peace treaty with the British that does not bid well for American policy. Basically, the British got everything they wanted with a few exceptions, and it really made people angry. It made people angry with Washington, and that's called Jay's Treaty. So I have several videos that I want you to watch. I'm going to type out the instructions as well, but I'm going to upload this very short PowerPoint. I'll make copies of it for you to give to you the next time I see you, and then follow the instructions. There's 2 or 3 videos that I want you to watch. A really bad uploaded video from the John Adams miniseries that I found online. It's a terrible quality, but it does the trick. A historical perspective on St. Clair's defeat, and I feel like there's one other thing. I'm going to have you answer a couple questions from the period 3B questions, and I'm also going to have you read through an encounter or somebody's accounting of St. Clair's defeat. So quite a few things. Follow the instructions, but I wanted to give a quick little verbal overview. So probably see you guys on Thursday. So see ya.